Hey, this is Rob Swanson with the Real Estate Mogul Show. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I'm going to show you how to turn this $10 bill into a $10,000 payday. Welcome back to another Real Estate Mogul Show. We're going to get right into it today because we've got something that is going to transform your real estate investing business, whether you want it to or not. And you're here, so I would imagine you want it to. Here's the thing we're going to be getting into today, right? We can talk about, and I can talk to you about all of the technical, strategy, tactical skill thing that you've got to go do. I can talk to you about that all day, every day. But you know what will never happen? This $10 bill will never turn into a $10,000 payday if you don't put in the work. And in order to put in the work, you've got to get your mindset right. You've got to actually know what work to be putting in, how to be putting it in, doing it at a sufficient level of skill, and not get the grass is greener syndrome. So we're going to be diving into that today on the show. We're going to be talking about some specific things throughout my real estate investing business that have been impactful moments in time where something slapped me upside the head and I had an aha moment and I said to myself, you know, self, if you want the result, you got to do the thing. And sometimes at that moment, I didn't know what the thing was. Then I had to figure out what the thing was. When I did the thing, I got the result. And that's why I'm sitting here today. So we've got a pared down crew in the studio. We've got Joe behind the buttons and in front of the camera today.
Yeah, this is,
welcome.
Thank you. This is a bit different, being around that wall, but it's great. You know, we have a lot of activity in the office and, you know, shout out to Mike. He's recovering. His voice was not up to par. And we want him effective and well. So, and Henry's working, you know, so it's, activity here is at a high level, and so I'm excited to do something different, get in this conversation, because it really, you know, this is some of the stuff that you're going to talk about today that made my career in doing some wholesaling when I first got out here to Colorado a success.
Yep.
You know, within the first 45 days, making that 12K payday. Yep. And subsequently, you know, turning a lot of deals. And so, you know, I think kicking it off with, you know, the mindset and these things that we're talking about is critical for, you know, not just wholesalers or people that are first in the business, but, you know, guys doing a lot of deals too are going to get value from this because, you know, everybody can sort of shift their mindset at times and they hit those dips that we've talked about. Totally.
And here's what's interesting, right? So we're going to preface the conversation because you just talked about, you know, you came out to Colorado, you jumped into the business and you made a 12K payday in 45 days. And so the premise and the preface that we're going to do here is that our approach to real estate investing, our approach to wholesaling is to do it in what we call easy profit cities. So the preface there is not all cities are created equal. The speed that you had from start to success was very relevant and related to the fact that you said, hey, I'm going to live where I want to live, but I'm going to invest where the market is going to give me a payday.
Right.
And that is a thing. That is a mental place that a lot of people, it takes time to get to, right? And so some of the preface around speed and the preface around what we do is related to that, right? Absolutely. I'm a huge believer in building a virtual house flipping machine. Now, if you live in what would classify as an easy profit city, have at it right in your local backyard.
Great.
But if you don't, choose to live where you want to live and invest where the market will give you regular repeated paydays. Yep. Now, we're going to dive into this because it had a lot to do with picking the right market, going virtual, knowing how to grid that market out, and creating quick opportunity that produced a payday. But there was a moment in time, and there was, I think you were driving back to Colorado. You were on a bit of a road trip, and direct mail had launched, direct mail had landed, and leads were coming in. And you jumped on the phone with me, and we talked about this lead. And I jumped in with you. I listened to the call, and I'm like, she's ready to sell. Like, this lady does not want this house. She's ready to sell. It's a thorn in her side. And do you remember what your comment was when we first talked about that lead?
Yeah, I was of the mindset at that point that I was going to pick back up. It was a 9 to 5 mindset, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of mindset. And, I was coming back from family visiting family and in the middle of the nowhere. And I was thinking that, like,
and it was a Saturday morning.
It was a Saturday. I was driving over the weekend from California to Colorado, and I was just like, all right, well, I'll pick up the phone on Monday and get after it,
And my comment to you when you said that was what?
That deal's gone on Monday.
Yeah.
That deal is gone on Monday.
Yep.
It's not there for you to get after it, Joe. You have to, and it was a big light bulb going off moment for me in framing how I had to approach this business.
Yeah.
And I'll let you tell them what you told me to do. It was great advice, and I followed it to the T, and we got, a house under contract.
Yeah. I said, this is what I told you to do. I said, if it was me, and I can't tell you because I can't tell you how bad you want success, right? But if it was me, I would pull over at the next city. I'd pull up in front of a coffee shop. I would connect to their Wi-Fi, and I would call them back as quickly as possible. Or if I've only got my cell phone, I've got no Wi-Fi, I'm not using, the FreedomSoft CRM to make the call, pull your app up, have your phone connected if you've got good cell service, click that lead and call them back. Call her back and have a conversation right now. So what I said was, you can't sit around. You've got to be an action taker quickly, because great deals in real estate investing don't wait around for people, right? When a great deal comes along, it's usually because that particular seller is just done. And they'll talk to anybody and everybody that they think can help them get out of this deal. And so when a lead comes in like that, it's about jumping on it quickly. And so the first thing that I wrote down for our conversation today to help turn this $10 bill into a $10,000 payday is do the hard thing right now. And the reason that's so important is because great deals don't wait, and action right now is the most critical thing you can do, even if it's imperfect action, right? Imperfect action done is better than perfect action in waiting.
Right, absolutely. And
right?
It's an idea that I've been implementing in other areas of my life too.
Right.
It's this idea of purpose over pleasure.
Yeah.
So it would have been great to just enjoy the drive, stop at that Starbucks, get a croissant,
right,
and wait till Monday. That would have been a pleasureful thing, but the purpose-driven thing was to pull over at the next rest stop, which was a mile down the road. Fortunately,
yep.
I had enough cell service to pick up FreedomSoft's native app and jump on it, click the button, talk to that lead. I think that she didn't pick up when I first called her back. So I said, okay, I'm going to head to the next city, give her a few minutes. I head to the next city. I pull into a fast food joint, sit in my car. I get in touch with her, have the one call close conversation, and she's ready to, hey, send me paperwork. So, okay, I go to the third location, purpose-driven,
right, to
get Wi-Fi at a little coffee shop that I found, and sent her out the paperwork. And it was like I said, a huge shift, and something that I carry into other aspects of my life. I don't always want to get up and go work out. I don't always want to eat that particular meal so that I hit my macros, but I do.
Right.
It's purpose over pleasure.
Yeah, and that's a huge deal. And I've got some things down the list here a little bit that will speak to this, but that purpose over pleasure doesn't mean that you're not allowing pleasure to show up.
Nope.
And a lot of times it's through I said, do the hard thing right now, because if you do the hard thing right now, the hard thing becomes easier tomorrow. Yep. And easier the next day, and easier the day after that, right? That first deal, when I said pull over, you were learning the script at that time, right? And you didn't have it rote memory. And so it was a little bit harder to have that conversation at that time than it would be to have that conversation today. Sure. Because, your skill was still on the upward slope. You were improving the skill, and you hadn't oriented your mind yet from kind of a 9-to-5 mentality to an entrepreneur's mentality that says effort. Like, I got to put in the effort right now. And even if I put imperfect action towards this, imperfect action is better than action in waiting. Yep. Right? Or perfection in waiting. And so, doing the hard thing right now was that light bulb aha moment. And so, people are listening to this, and they're listening to it right now, and they're saying, oh man, there's a hard thing that I need to do right now and that I need to go make happen. And they're thinking to themselves, but if I do it, I'm going to screw it up. You know what? The hard thing becomes easier when you go screw it up. Yeah, so just go screw it up.
You have to get reps.
Ask my wife if I have been a screw up my whole life. I've been a screw up, but it's those screwed up things that actually lead me to success.
Absolutely.
I hear people all the time. And I won't mention any names in particular, but people talk about how, this person or that person is such a knucklehead. Look at all their business failures. Look at how horrible they are and what a knucklehead they are. You know what? The reason a lot of times people do that is because if you take massive action and you put yourself out there in big ways, you are going to expose your failures to the world. And if you take massive action, you take some risk in the world, you're going to fail in public. You're going to fail. And to be honest with you, I have had more failures than I have had successes. It's just that because of being able to risk the failure and push through the failure, the successes are meaningful.
Yeah, the bigger the risk of failure, the bigger the opportunity for growth and success on the other side of that. So
yeah, and people live in too much of a mental gymnastics world where they're worried about what everybody else thinks. Yeah. And, they're worried about this person that they see as successful is going to see them on social media and now think that they're not a success and that they're a failure. And, the truth is that person that you see successful, the reason they have had success is because they've had more failures. Right. They've had more failures than they have had successes. It's just that the mainstream population doesn't understand that.
Yeah, well, they've pushed through that. Again, we talk about the dip. They pushed through that dip, and in doing that and getting those reps, they've increased their level of skill.
That's right.
And things have become easier, which is why you see them now succeeding.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's move to number 2, because number 1 was do the hard thing right now. Yep. Number 2 is don't chase shiny objects. Now, that could be completely different opportunities. That could be shiny objects of, like, where do I put my focus inside of a particular opportunity? I'm kind of scatterbrained. I'm jumping all over the place. The key to this is figure out what you want. Like, what outcome do you want? Is it, I want to close my first real estate deal and make 10 grand, right? Is it, I want to, create financial freedom for myself and my family?
Right.
Is it I want to, buy another 50 rental properties? Like, figure out what the outcome is and then reverse back to where you are today and evaluate what has to happen in order to get there. Now, we talk a lot about the freedom formula when it comes to evaluating this process, right? And, the first two phases of the freedom formula are to generate cash and then create passive income, create cash flow. And the reason we do that is because if you figure out and learn how to generate cash, everything else in life becomes easier.
Right.
When you know how to generate cash and create cash on demand, when you know how to turn a $10 bill into a $10,000 payday, everything else in life becomes easier. And so what I want people to think about is, are they clear about the destination, where they are headed? Where do they want to go? And then come all the way back to where they are today with a realistic evaluation of the effort that they can put in, the skill that they have to put in, the strategy that they're going to employ to go make it happen, and then lean in. Focus, right? Avoid it. Focus is the opposite of the shiny object syndrome.
Right. And I think two things that come to mind for me when you say that, and it is after you've evaluated that plan and that destination, you're coming back to some things that you have to get done. And two things that I think people can really, really identify in that will lead them down that path more effectively is their buy box, and not getting distracted by the shiny object that is these weird deals that are going to come at you because you're putting massive action in there. You're exposing yourself to a lot of prospects. You're going to have opportunity to noodle around and try to figure out this deal. And if it's not in your buy box, goodbye.
That's right.
Let's move on. Let somebody else find the money in it if there's money in it. But be very clear on your buy box. And the second thing is be very clear on how your CRM is functioning, how your technology and tools are functioning. Get that set up and let it run. And don't noodle around with it.
Right.
Just get the system in place, because as we've said before, you're not going to rise to your goal. You're going to fall to the strength of your system. And so if your system is flawed or you want to keep tweaking it, that's not a strong system.
Well, two things you said. People tend to, sometimes they hear, and maybe they hear it on a YouTube video, maybe they hear it on a podcast, maybe they hear it, but they hear people talk about every lead is an opportunity, and you need to figure out how to squeeze the blood out of the turnip, and spend the time to figure out the deal.
Right.
And I would argue almost the opposite of that, right? Yes, as your skills go up, more opportunities come inside of each lead.
Yes.
Because you have more arrows in your quiver to pull out and to solve certain problems. But until your skills are there, or until you're to the buy box equation and conversation, you're looking for a particular thing that is a moneymaker. Right? We talk about all the time, and especially most people, let me just say this. Most people, whether they're just getting started or they're already running a team and they're looking to kind of expand their operation, they need to put a cash generating machine in place in their business that just generates cash. Because everything is easier with cash. Everything is easier with cash. And so that's why we focus so much, inside of our programs. We've got our virtual flip incubator program, and it's an incubator for a reason. We birth people and businesses that know how to generate cash, right? That's what an incubator does, is it births something that now produces the result you want. And so our focus inside of the buy box, and our focus is an easy profit city, lay down, cream off the top, easy deals. Yep. And those easy deals are how you turn a $10 deposit into a $10,000 payday. Right. You're doing it in a market in an area that we call the honey hole. Right. Yep. So this is, again, shiny object avoidance. You're not looking, you're not looking for deals everywhere. Right. You're looking for specific types of deals in specific areas, in specific cities, because you know that those deals pay.
Right. And for people that don't know, maybe they've caught this first episode, or they keep hearing us talk about this $10 bill.
Yeah.
This is the $10 bill is those easy cream off the top deals. You're going to be able to put down a $10 deposit on your earnest money deposit on a executed contract.
Right.
And it's $10. And for most wholesalers, they're looking around that $10,000 payday to find this great deal.
Yep.
And turn somebody else onto it that is going to take it down the line. But, the $10 bill is, the deposit. Yeah. And it's I wanted to give context for people on that.
Totally. And this is an interesting thing, right? So, flipping real estate, wholesaling real estate is no different than flipping cars, flipping watches, flipping, domains. You pick the thing. Mm-hmm. Okay? But if you flip a car, you might have to go out and spend $2,000 to buy the car, and then you might flip it and make $4,000 or $5,000. Right? So you flip it for $4,000 or $5,000, you put $2,000 to $3,000 in your pocket. If you flip watches, you might go spend $5,000 to buy a watch and then turn around and sell it for $8,000. So you make $3,000. Right. But you put $5,000 out to make $3,000. Right. Okay? You put $2,000 out to make $1,000. Okay? In real estate is unique. Real estate allows you to control the real estate with a piece of paper, i.e. a contract, a purchase agreement, and control that piece of paper with a $10 bill, i.e. a deposit.
Right.
Your earnest money deposit, a $10 bill. Now, if you, and here's the thing, the value of real estate, let's say that the value of real estate is $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, $200,000. So for a $10 bill, I get to control a $200,000 thing. Instead of if I'm flipping cars, I need to spend $2,000 to control a $4,000 thing.
Right.
In real estate, I spend $10 bucks to control a $200,000 thing. This is why the margins of flipping real estate are so great, right? And so the shiny object, avoid shiny objects, get focused, right? Most people, whether they're a newer real estate investor and just getting started, or they're a seasoned pro looking to expand a more nationwide or virtual operation to their business for cash generation, they need to focus on cash generation because cash makes everything easier.
Right.
So get focused. That's number 2. All right, number 3. The number 3 thing that I think people need to lean in on and spend time on because it makes everything else easier is simply work on your skill.
Yep.
Okay, so there's the idea, there's the action, right? We call it effort. We always talk about 2 things around here, effort and skill, right? You've got to bring the effort. And sometimes it's like what I said at the very beginning. Do the hard thing right now, right? That's effort. Mm-hmm. And the effort feels more difficult when the skill is low. Mm-hmm. As the skill increases, the effort feels easier and the effort becomes easier. And so focus on you, focus on learning, focus on education, focus on skill. If there's one thing that I have done over my career, something that I've taught my kids to do, something that I've taught everybody that I come in contact with, it is invest in your education.
Right.
Invest in your knowledge, invest in yourself, invest in learning, invest in skills. Mm-hmm. Because if you increase your skills, the effort becomes easier. Now, the second piece of that is sometimes investing and improving your skills. It's not necessarily just a financial investment. It's an effort investment, because the way you improve your skills is you fail.
You do.
You fail a lot.
100%. Yeah.
And it's an interesting dynamic for people that, you know, sometimes come from a more traditional upbringing. You know, maybe mom and dad had corporate jobs. Maybe mom and dad had regular, you know, W-2 jobs. They didn't come from an entrepreneurial background. And so this mindset of improving your skills and this mindset of taking a risk and investing in yourself, like everybody gets it from I'm going to go to college. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to college so that somebody's going to give me a job. Well, what if you decide to go to skill school, right? And skill school is investing in you on specific skills that you're going to then apply to the strategy or to the effort of real estate investing. Hey friends, Rob Swanson here. Let me jump in and talk to you really quick about the Real Estate Mogul Academy. You might be sitting back listening to this and saying, how do I get in proximity with these guys? How do I have these kind of conversations, water cooler, hallway conversations every single day to help me go where I want to go in my real estate investing business? Whether you're just getting started or you're already a seasoned pro trying to elevate and go to that next step, the Real Estate Mogul Academy might be for you. What we'd like to do is offer you a free strategy session where someone from my team will jump on the phone. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to go, and how the Real Estate Mogul Academy might be the right fit for you. If you're saying to yourself, that sounds great, let's do it, go to mogulmembers.com, fill out your name and your contact information, and let's jump on the phone and let's chat. Let's see if we can help you go where you want to go this year. And the whole operation is about improving your skills, whether through an investment of financially in yourself or through doing the work, failing and learning.
Right. Yep.
Do it, fail, and learn.
Yep, absolutely. I think it, you know, that is such a key to that, because you can spend money and spend time and effort in learning.
Yep.
But if learning only leads to knowledge, this is the who's Mike's favorite guy that he loves, the
I don't know.
He's got him on his posters in the back. He always talks about him. It'll come to me.
I
But if learning leads to or if learning leads to knowledge only, you're at a loss. But if learning leads to action, that's when your life changes.
That's right.
And it is absolutely true that, you know, yes, invest in yourself, get the knowledge, but then you have to apply that knowledge, push through those gaps of failure so that so it becomes easier, so that you can have that success.
Well, two things that come to mind as you talk about that. I always tell people, ask your way to success, right? If you don't know something, somebody else does. Ask questions. Get good at the art of asking questions, and ask your way to success. Because the more time you kind of lean in on asking questions, the better you're going to get at improving your skill.
Absolutely.
And and be willing to fail. Just be willing to fail, because pushing through and working on your skill is key. It's paramount to the outcomes you want. And I see it all the time. People get stuck right here, and this is where analysis paralysis kicks in.
Right.
And they don't take the action to do the thing because something's holding them back. And usually it's the fear of failure that holds someone back.
Yep. It's Jim Rohn.
That's right. I was like, I know what you're talking about. I just couldn't remember his name. Jim Rohn. That's right. Yeah, Mike likes that.
He's got great stuff.
He's got good stuff.
He's that personal development. Your success will never outweigh your level of personal development.
Right.
And it is something that, again, you speak about all the time. Invest in yourself, develop yourself in all ways. And you will find a way to that success.
Yep. And here's an interesting sidebar on that, right? Sometimes investing in yourself is going to lead only to knowledge. And you're going to learn something that prevents you from taking an action that would take you away from the desired outcome. This is why it's so important that you know what your destination is and where you want to go.
That's good.
And that you're willing to make that investment. And that investment is not an investment that led to loss or led to low ROI. It actually led to massive ROI because the knowledge you gained from the investment kept you from doing certain things and refocused you into something else that was more in line with maybe you, your personality, your approach, your desired outcome. And so sometimes, and I've done this, right? I've invested in programs, I've invested in coaching, I've invested in things that I've spent a lot of money for, right? Like true financial investment in myself to learn something from someone who had done it. And I can think of a few times where I made that investment, I learned, and I was like, now that I know, no, that's not the direction I'm going to go.
Right.
And that was perfectly okay. The investment I made to learn it was what I needed to do to make the decision to not chase a shiny object. And the only way I figured out what the shiny object was by making the investment in the knowledge and then saying, wait a minute, is this the destination that I want, or is this the way I want to reach the destination? Right? It's either one of those two things. Is it taking me to the right place?
Yeah.
Or is it an approach that I want to, like, is it the vehicle I want to drive to the destination?
Yeah, so it really hits on two of the things that we talk about, and one was going to be coming, but it pushed you away from the wrong action and led you to the right action.
That's right.
So
exactly.
Ultimately, it pushed you to that action. You still had to do the hard things within it, but it was the correct action, laser focused.
100%.
Yep.
And I always go back to this. Everything is easier with cash, right?
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because when you know how to put a cash generating machine in your business, you win. And if you struggle generating cash, everything else becomes harder. It feels harder, right? So, number one, do the hard thing right now.
Yep.
Number two, avoid shiny objects. Number three, work on your skills. Number four, this is a big one.
Yep.
Push through the dip. Now, I'm borrowing the dip from, I think it's Seth Godin. I think he wrote the dip.
Smart guy.
I think it was Seth. I should look back. I should know this. Push through the dip, right? And here's what this means. This means that when you start something new, if you start it and you take action and you do it, it might feel a little bit hard to start, but then if you start and you have quick success, maybe not even turning a $10 bill into a $10,000 payday immediately, but you do something and you pick the right market and you're like, oh man, I got this. Okay, this is going to be amazing. You feel good,
right?
And then you grid out that market and you're like, okay, I know exactly how I'm going to drop my direct mail.
Yep.
I know my buy box. I know who the buyers are. I know what's happening. You feel good. You've got a win. You got another win. You're stacking wins.
Yes.
And then you drop your direct mail and you start to get some leads. And the leads come in and you're like, my gosh, this is exactly how they said it was going to be. And then you get on the phone and all of a sudden you don't know what to say. Right. So this stacked win early in the effort feels like the effort is easy and my skills are rocking, right? And then all of a sudden you hit a point in the process where there's a skill deficiency.
Right.
And that derails everything. And that is the beginning of the dip. Because now the effort feels harder because there's a deficiency in skill. There's a delta between the skill required to keep the success win stacking and where you're at.
Right.
And this is where effort starts to feel hard. Skill starts to feel elusive. And this is where you got to lean back up on number 3, and that's work on your skills. Mm-hmm. Just know when you do something new, you're going to likely feel a stacking of wins. Yep. And then you're going to find that place in the process where the skill delta rears its head.
Yep.
And, sometimes it's a skill delta. Other times it's a market delta. Something in the market changes. Like things are just going easy. And then all of a sudden, something that you didn't even have control over happens.
Right.
And it pushes you into the dip. I got a great story for that. Okay?
Bring it.
This goes back a few years, but in the 2008 financial collapse, I was flipping a lot of houses. I had private money. I had lines of credit. I had access to capital. And I was using the capital. We were flipping a lot of houses. And this is in like 2008 when the financial markets are collapsing and things are crashing and, AIG and Bear Stearns and, they're all filing bankruptcy and all of this stuff is happening. And, the market's in a free fall and everybody's panicking and interest rates are, dropping towards zero and, the sky's falling. And yet for me, like life was pretty good. Like, it wasn't bad. I didn't lose a job because I didn't have a job. All of a sudden, there's a lot more distressed real estate to buy than there was 5-6 months earlier. I had access to the capital and to the cash because I had a virtual house flipping business prior to that, and kept that going, the whole 9 yards. Well, through that process and through the early part, though, I had built lines of credit and I had built things that I was using to buy houses and I was using to run my fix and flips and I was using cash in a different way. Mm-hmm. One day I woke up and I logged into my bank account and all the money was gone.
Wow.
Because the bank, according to their fine print, decided that if they deemed that there was excessive market risks, and I can't remember the exact language that they had, but basically, they said that if they felt there was risk in the market, they could take all of the money out of any of your bank accounts to pay off the lines of credit whenever they wanted to.
Wow.
So what they did is they took all of the money and paid off all of the lines of credit.
Wow.
So not all of the money was gone, but like hundreds of thousands of dollars
big chunk.
Gone.
Yeah.
Like gone. And so they used all my money to pay off the bank accounts, leaving me a property-rich investor, a relationship-rich investor, a skills-rich investor, and a cash-poor investor.
Wow.
And I say this because that was the dip. It was that moment where I could have gotten angry. I could have felt defeated. I could have blamed others. I could have stuck my head in the sand. I could have done all these things. And what I did was I literally got in my truck and drove to Chipotle. And I said, you know what? With the little bit of money I got left, I'm going to buy a burrito.
Yep.
And I thought about it. And I thought, you know what? I did. I literally went to Chipotle. And I bought a burrito and I bought a grapefruit Izzy and I sat there and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I know how to generate cash on demand.
Yep.
And so it was the building of skills and knowledge previously that when the dip showed up outside of my control, I was able to lean back on my skills and literally on demand generate cash. $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I knew how to generate cash. And so I was able to lean in on those skills and generate cash. And so when the dip shows up, sometimes you're in a dip and it's a brand new dip and you're not sure how to get out.
Right.
Other times you can borrow from past experiences and past skill and this past thing you did that you didn't even recognize was critical and was going to play a role in the future shows up, and you're like, oh, now I know why that happened. Mm-hmm. And now I know why I know what to do here today to get out of this quote unquote hole.
Right.
And that's what we did. I just went to work generating cash, and we refilled the coffers, and literally we never missed a beat. However, in the dip, if I would have put my ostrich head in the sand,
right,
it would have been devastating. It would have been bad.
It speaks to this idea of, having, and people talk about it a lot in the personal development sort of space, but having an abundant mindset as opposed to a defeatist mindset. Right. You could have went to Chipotle, bought that burrito and Izzy, and sat there wallowing in your sorrows that, this money's gone and now what do I do? And, you spiral down into almost veiling what you should do because you have a poor mindset, where, what you did was, okay, you have an abundant mindset. You have this mindset that says, I have the skill. I've went through the gaps. I've developed it. And now here's go time. Let's do it.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And, another big piece of it is to build community.
Yeah.
Right. Get around others that you know, like, and trust, that you have similar mindset to, that you have similar goals with, that you can share the wins and the losses, and they'll celebrate. A lot of times people will celebrate your losses, or they'll console your losses, but they will not celebrate your wins because they're jealous. Right. Those are the wrong people.
Yep.
Don't get around those people.
Yep.
People that will not celebrate your win in a massive way are the wrong people.
Right.
And so figure out community, right? Pushing through the dip. Yes, it's related to skill. Yes, it's related to effort. Yes, it's related to mindset. But yes, it's related to community and other people. Humans are social creatures. We need people. We need community. And sometimes we need support. We need a high five. We need,
right.
we need a, hey, you're going to get through this. Sometimes it's, hey, I got 50 grand if you need it.
Right.
Right. I'll help you through the dip.
Yep.
Right. And we didn't need that because my skill was able to generate cash quickly.
Right.
And so push through the dip. Next one, last one, number 5. Yep. Do the right work.
Right. And this we spoke about, I alluded to this before, do the right work. And this is where, betting on yourself, investing in yourself, created knowledge that pushed you away from the wrong work into the right work.
Exactly.
So, beautiful point.
Yeah, and if we go back to the beginning, the first thing we talked about was do the hard thing right now, right? So the hard thing right now presumes that you're doing the right work. All the way down to number 5 is do the right work.
They're all very connected.
They all connect step by step, right? Do the hard thing right now. Avoid shiny objects, i.e. focus. Work on your skills, improve your ability to create the outcomes that you desire. Push through the dip. Just know that things are going to get hard, and how you mentally show up is the difference between success and failure.
Right.
And number 5, do the right work. And so when it comes to real estate investing, the right work, we've created a thing that we call the Playbook. And for people that have been listening to this show for any length of time, they've heard the Playbook come up a few times.
Yep.
And it's because we lean into it so often. If somebody says, Rob, I'm doing all the work, i.e. I'm putting in the effort, but I'm not getting the result, then a couple of things are, showing up. They're not doing the right work, or they're not doing the work at a sufficient level of skill to produce the result. Right. If it's not doing the work at all, that's an effort problem. If it's doing the wrong work, that's a focus, i.e. skill problem. We can course correct. We can coach you out of that.
Right.
And if it's I'm doing the right work, but I'm not getting the result, it's probably a skill gap.
Yep.
And filling the skill gap is the key. And we can coach you through that. We can help you fill up the skill gap. And so do the right work. So the playbook, number one, when your feet hit the floor every single day as a real estate investor, if your goal is to build a cash generating real estate investing business, to turn literally $10 bills into $10,000 paydays.
Yep.
That's the goal. If that's the objective, here's the playbook. Number one, when your feet hit the floor every day, ask yourself this question: who am I marketing to today? Like, where is my next opportunity coming from, right? What do I have out there that is going to be building my pipeline? Like, where's my payday today? Where's my payday next week? Where's my payday after that? That's called building a pipeline, right? So the playbook here is about building a pipeline, because with a pipeline, you have consistent opportunity. So number one, ask yourself this question: who am I marketing to today? Like, where is my opportunity coming from today? That's playbook question number one. Number two, who am I talking to today? Right. So if you've got the playbook and you're asking the question around marketing, like, where's the opportunity coming from? When that opportunity shows up in your leads inbox, in your FreedomSoft account, and it's top of mind, front and center, right in front of you, pick up the phone.
Right.
Like, pull over.
Do the hard work.
Do the hard work right now. And so who am I talking to today? If the answer is, I don't have anyone to talk to today, then you've got to go back and say, well, who am I marketing to today?
Right.
Where's my pipeline coming from? And you have to go forward and you say, number three in the playbook, who am I following up with today? Right? So number two is, who am I talking to today? Like, that's my today payday. And I either have pipeline built or not. So that's marketing. And I either have opportunity to create conversations to talk to through follow-up, or I don't.
Right.
So I either have pipeline or I don't.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
And then number four in the playbook is, who am I making an offer to today?
If you ain't making offers, you ain't making money.
If you're not making offers, you're not making money. That is exactly right. And, I will talk to people all the time, and they'll say, hey, I've been trying to do this real estate thing for a while, this real estate investing thing for a while, and it's not working out. I'm doing some marketing, I'm doing this, and I'm getting some leads, and I'm talking to some people, but nobody's interested in selling. Nobody's motivated to sell, right? Okay. Effort, focus, and skill gap, right? Probably all there. Right. But then I asked this one question: how many offers did you make last week?
Yep.
Well, I didn't make any offers. There you go.
Right.
If you make 0 offers, you will make 0 money, guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. I can guarantee that if you make 0 offers, you will make 0 money.
Right.
That's the guarantee. So then the question is, how many offers do I have to make some money? How many offers do I have to make more than some money? How many offers do I have to make a lot of money? How many offers do I have to make a ridiculously large amount of money?
Right.
Right? And so the number of offers you make is directly proportional to the money you make. So the playbook is designed to get you to a place where you're focused on recognizing the one thing that you've got to do, and that's make offers.
Yep.
And then what you realize is that as your skills improve, the type of offers you can make expands. And as the type of offers that you can make expands, more deals get across the finish line because you're solving more seller problems in unique, creative, or valuable ways, and therefore you make more money.
Absolutely.
This whole thing spins full circle.
Yep. It's a flywheel of success if you look at it in the right way.
100%. 100%. And so, when we summarize it down to just effort and skill, it starts to build around these 5 things, and the mindset of the person taking the action, pushing through and recognizing where am I in these 5 things? Do I need to course correct around any of them? And if I do, what am I going to do today? Right? Because everybody, and this is, Mike does a presentation a lot of times with our coaching community, and he shows these railroad tracks that are running down the line and they're going to the destination, right? Yep. And then what he shows is that if you just turn one step to the right and you start walking off the tracks, you can, after 20 steps, you feel pretty far away from the straight line of the railroad track that's on course to the destination. But the beautiful thing about the image and the way he presents it is that if I'm 20 steps off, all it takes is one step back in the direction to be back on track going towards the destination.
Right.
So what I want people to hear is, whether they're resonating with 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 that we've talked about here today, in a positive or a negative way, it only takes one decision to be back on track.
Right.
And if you'll make that one decision to be back on track and then lean into the discipline to say, I'm going to stay pointed in the right direction. I'm going to do the hard thing right now.
Purpose over pleasure.
That's right. I'm going to avoid shiny objects and I'm going to focus. I'm going to know what my destination is. I'm going to work on my skills. I'm going to ask questions to success. I'm going to push through the dip through community and leaning on past experiences. And I'm going to do the right work because I know what the outcome I want is. You're going to win.
Absolutely. Every time. That's good. I love it. It's such a massive shift for many people, I think, hearing this, is to have that laid out so clearly, and they know what they need to do.
Totally.
You're maybe just getting distracted by the shiny object.
That's right.
But and just go and do it. Yep.
Love it. Well, I think this is a great place to wrap this one. Perfect. And I want people to take this information, evaluate your own situation and say, where do you need to lean in? What's the thing that's going to put you on track to the outcome that you desire? Because every single person listening has the opportunity and the ability to go and grab it and take the bull by the horns, rein it in, and make it happen. Some will push through and some won't. I hope you will push through. All right, guys. Rob Swanson for another Real Estate Mogul Show. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Hey friends, Rob Swanson here. Let me jump in and talk to you really quick about the Real Estate Mogul Academy. You might be sitting back listening to this and saying, how do I get in proximity with these guys? How do I have these kind of conversations, water cooler, hallway conversations every single day to help me go where I want to go in my real estate investing business? Whether you're just getting started or you're already a seasoned pro trying to elevate and go to that next step, the Real Estate Mogul Academy might be for you. What we'd like to do is offer you a free strategy session where someone from my team will jump on the phone. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to go, and how the Real Estate Mogul Academy might be the right fit for you. If you're saying to yourself, that sounds great, let's do it, go to mogulmembers.com, fill out your name and your contact information, and let's jump on the phone and let's chat. Let's see if we can help you go where you want to go this year.